Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the claim that despite saying they were closing off the non-dom status tax breaks in this country with their budget, what the Tories have actually done is just rearrange things in a way which could potentially allow Sunak and his family to personally dodge £250 million of UK taxes. That would buy a lot of helicopter rides. Unfortunately for him, I think the public can think of better uses for that money. So, when the Tories announced their budget last month, they announced two tax loopholes that they would be closing, which were Labour policies: applying windfall taxes to oil and gas companies and ending non-dom status. Now, non-dom status is where a foreign citizen is living in the UK, but for tax purposes, they claim that they're not. Even the United States doesn't have a mad system like that. And it was thought the reason the Tories nicked a couple of Labour policies was to use the money for tax cuts instead of investment to blow a hole in Labour's spending plans. But even at the time, the non-dom status one was weird. They weren't actually ending the system. They were just limiting the period of time you could claim it. But now Labour are saying that it's even worse than that. Their research suggests that the new policy is full of loopholes, and these could potentially benefit Sunak's family personally to the tune of £250 million. Now, Labour say theoretically, so this will be an upper limit on what their researchers think possible, rather than the probable figure. But even if it's like significantly less, let's say £200 million, that's still way more in benefits than that these effective billionaires would be getting from the public purse than any of those on low incomes that the Tories are always moaning about. And that's why I talk about rich Tory scroungers. If you get money from the public purse, and it's not for goods or services, it's got nothing to do with a contract, then it's benefits, isn't it? Tax breaks are benefits. And those on low income benefits often have to jump through a whole load of hoops, have to do way more to receive them than these Tory scroungers taking way more from the public purse. You know, why does someone who is so rich he gets his Coca-Cola shipped in from Mexico instead of Tesco like everyone else need benefits? And in an Observer article on this, it quoted a few tax experts as being a bit sceptical about the politics behind the policy. One said it didn't make sense to, on the one hand, claim that non-dom status was needed to attract investment, but on the other to say, oh, but yeah, we won't need it from 2025. You know, and quite, you know, when Labour announced their policy, the Tories attacked it as chasing away investors. So how come they can claim now that, oh, from 2025, coincidentally the year they'll no longer be in government, it's suddenly fine to have the policy? More evidence that it was just a politically motivated stunt with both eyes on not only the upcoming general election, but making the ground as treacherous as possible for the incoming Labour government. Now, I suppose there are good and bad features to this development. The bad is obviously that the Tory budget sounded like it was putting some extra tax burden on the rich, but in actual fact has not. Loopholes in any system are always going to be exploited by wealthy people because they have professional accountants who understand them and make full use of them. But there are several good features here as well. First of all, if this policy hasn't really touched Labour's policy on non-dom status at all, then they still have the option of implementing their version and benefiting from the extra taxes raised to invest in school breakfast clubs as they'd originally intended. Remember that by pretending to spend this money on tax cuts, what Jeremy Hunt was saying is that kids in poverty shouldn't have anything to eat before the school day begins. It's back to the policy of starving poor kids that got them into trouble in 2020, but they're getting away with this one because it's a little bit more subtle. Another benefit is it allows Labour to talk about this to voters now. Not only can they point out that the Tories theoretically put up a wall against non-dom status, but then installed a massive door which is really easy to walk through, but the figure they've come up with for what Sunak's family could personally save just reminds everyone how fantastically wealthy and therefore out of touch on the cost of living crisis the Prime Minister really is. I mean, basically that budget was used not to deal with the living standards of ordinary people, to make sure he could save £250 million. I mean, after all, you know, think about that. You're saving up to £250 million in tax, even if it is just £200 million. Most people are lucky to earn £1.5 million in today's money across their entire working lives. The very idea that a couple could save £250 million in taxes because how one of them changed the tax system makes you wonder just what their income is expected to be over that period of time. And it also makes a bit of a mockery of Tories claiming that Rayner has dodged £3,500 worth of tax. Being clear, this won't be the case. Otherwise, HMRC would be after her. You know, like they were with Nadeem Zahawi a couple of years ago. I mean, if a random Tory reckons that they've got enough information about Rayner to draw this conclusion, don't you think the organisation with her tax and income information would be even better placed to decide that? But when you consider that the Tory making the claim is believed to personally dodge over £10 million in UK taxes himself a year by claiming non-dom status, and that Rishi Sunak, the person who has taken charge of our tax policy over the past 4 years, is going to benefit to the tune of hundreds of millions as well over a period of years. And all of a sudden, it makes their fake cries of anguish look just a little bit silly. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe for further content and click the like button. You can also sign up for memberships if you'd like to support the channel further. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.